Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 49 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 15 seasons under her belt, Ange.
Hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 7th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, folks? Happy to be here.
Welcome you both to a milestone on this podcast, and for people listening, and at the time for people, we have hit our first returnee season. Micronesia.
Yeah, such a weird feeling. Just, we had like a moment of shock once they were introducing people for this season.
Yeah, I thought it was all fans, and then suddenly it was like, oh my gosh, they're people that I actually know. And I was just talking about it last episode. Well, last episode
It'll
we
be last.
recorded.
It'll be last episode.
Okay. That about like how I wonder how, returning players play, if they change it up, they impress me. And I'm just like, wow. And I was just like, was I hyped up on Amanda? I think I was. And seeing her again was like, oh my God. Well, Amanda, you better change it up because I want to be on your side,
And interestingly enough, from the people returning that, at least of the seasons that we've watched, I did take note of the fact that none of them were winners.
You're right. I
Yeah,
think
so
it would be
let's.
fair to bring a winner back.
Ooh, no, that's an interesting thought there. So, out of all the people, so this is season 16, fans versus favorites, and we need to remind ourselves to give the fans some love here. It's easy to get distracted, enthralled by all these favorites, but the headline is the favorites. So of the 10, this is also, as we said, 10 versus 10, 20-person cast. So also a big season here. So 6 of the 10 are from seasons that we've watched, and then the other 4 aren't. I'm hoping this gives us a preview of what it may feel like when we do season 50 later this year, because on our schedule, we'll have seen most of them, but not all of them. So it'll be interesting perspective. Like, will you naturally end up becoming fans of the people you've seen before and kind of ignore the other 4? Or maybe the unknown, like, captures you, interests you, and you end up being invested there. I'm curious how it'll go. So the people that you guys have seen from Cook Islands is Jonathan Penner, is Ozzy, and is
Woo!
Parvati. And from season 15, which we had just watched, is James and Amanda. And from Pearl Islands, Jonny Fairplay. And we'll talk about we'll talk about Fairplay. We'll talk about Fairplay. And you're right, F. None of them are winners. Some of them got real close. Fairplay was 3rd, I believe, so he almost made it. Amanda
Same with
also
Amanda.
was 3rd. Yep. And Amanda though actually got to Final Tribal, whereas Jonny Fairplay did not. And as for Jonathan, James, Ozzy, and Parvati, they didn't make it to the end. Oh, sorry, Ozzy. Ozzy did. What am I talking about? Ozzy's second place. But James, Parvati, and Jonathan did not get as far, but they certainly were memorable, whether you hated them or you loved them. Now, I will not reveal to you whether our other 4, which are Yau-Man, Cirie, Amy, and Eliza, if they're winners. But if they are, it hasn't come up in the show yet, so you can draw your conclusions. But yeah, so sticking with the favorites, and Ange, you were even like you were saying, you were hypothesizing in your mind how it would happen. How did you like seeing in reality a person who played before and had some or a lot of success now playing again in a situation where everyone has watched you have that success, and so like knows what you're about.
Yeah, it's crazy because the people that are within the group, they know each other because I'm sure if you were in Survivor, you're probably watching Survivor and you know it, and the fans know it too. I think it's interesting to see like they're like, oh, I know I played like this before, and then this time I played like this. Like they kind of talk about how they're different, a little different, but you kind of see them slipping into like their old ways, like Parvati, for example. Her way was flirting. Her last season, her previous season was flirting her way around her Black Widow, get the guy, and then just kill him. And I feel like you see that with that flirtiness with James, and James is just he's got it in. He's like, yes. And it's just interesting to see that. And then you see Jonny Fairplay, who lied about his grandmother's passing at that time, and now talking about like him having a girlfriend that's expecting, and now he's all in his head and he's changed, and everyone's just like, is that really the real Jonny Fairplay saying this, or he's just saying it to mess with me? Because me as an audience, I'm so confused. I'm like, is he playing with me right now? Like, is he like making this whole scenery right now? Because I'm confused. I feel like camera's confused, the producers are confused. They're like, yeah, he's got a trick under his sleeve, but there wasn't, and so I'm confused. So it's interesting to see like you're trying not to have a like a background knowledge of them. Like I'm seeing Amanda and I'm like I can't help but want to like support her because we just watched the season, and I'm like, you came in third? Yeah, you came in third, and I'm like, I hope you win this time, or like I hope you change up. And I feel like this time she's more confident and she's kind of like more out in her shell. So I'm feeling better, but I can't help but feel like maybe I'm a little biased because I just watched the season with you guys like 3 days ago.
I mean, hey, like Amanda and James, credit to them. They're going back to back. There's very little time, just the way things like the shooting schedules are, between being on the island for China and being on this island for fans versus favorites. Uh, so I mean, they don't look like they're struggling, but you gotta think. I mean, your body just went through. I mean, for both of them, for James because he needed so much fuel and wasn't getting it. So even though he got voted out like 2/3 the way through, and then Amanda went as far as you can go, so she suffered the longest. So we'll see how how long they last based on that. What about you, F? How are you liking the atmosphere of these returning players? Because when players come back, and as you should know, it happens sometimes enough for you to be excited, like you expect it to happen again. Um, there's different versions. There's what you're seeing now, which is like a tribe of people who played before and a tribe who didn't. There's that kind. There's also the kind where everybody's played before. And then there's the mixed, where it's like within the same tribe, some of them are returnees, some of them are not. So how are you liking this iteration of it?
I think it adds a nice twist to the overall season, right? Because while we look at it in the sense that, oh, these people have already played before, they have some experience, so that could be advantageous. The other group has fans in it. So, they might be familiar with the show and they could identify like weaknesses that the survivors that we've already seen already have. So I think I would like to see how it progresses over the course of the season, right? Like my initial thought would have been that, oh, okay, well, this could be an easy win for potentially one of the returning survivors. And like thinking about it more and more as we even watch the episodes, maybe I'm underestimating the fans. Maybe there's a situation where the fans can come out on top because something that does help in Survivor is unpredictability. And with the returning contestants, you at least have part of the puzzle figured out. You know what they're like. They probably, it's not to say that they can't evolve, but you've seen how they maneuver in previous games. You've seen how their social game works. You've seen where they might struggle with a social game, where they might have struggled with challenges. Because again, they're not picking people, at least the ones that we've seen that have won. They've picked people who are fan favorites. They've picked people who have been competitive, who've made it, at least decently far into the show, made it to the very end, but just not won. So it both gives them an opportunity to edge things out. That being the returning survivors. It gives them a second chance to kind of reclaim that glory. But then there's added pressure with that, right? That like, oh, okay, like when I went through this the first time, there was a lot of stuff that I had to figure out on the fly. Now that I'm in a more familiar environment, I'm doing all these things, knowing certain things, but then that's a double-edged sword. People can use that against me. So I'd like to see how that kind of comes into play this season. So I'm looking forward to, just figuring out like how the relationships are built like beyond these tribal lines that we have so far, which I've said for prior seasons, but I think this season has that set up very nicely.
I'm hoping that because I think both of you enjoyed parts of David versus Goliath when we watched that. I'm hoping this is like a much more smooth version of that theme because it you could say this is underdogs versus overdogs if you want to describe it like David versus Goliath, but this one doesn't make you feel dirty for rooting for the overdogs because I feel like the Goliaths got like a negative edit in the beginning. Like the show wanted you to root for the Davids in that season. Whereas here, I think you can get excited about either side, and you don't, and no one's gonna be mad at you for it. Like you can be excited for your favorites that are returning to put those young whippersnappers in their place, or you can also vote for this group of not just people but fans because this is fans versus favorites. For some reason, it took this long for the show to make a dedicated effort to exclusively bring in fans, which you think would have been a pretty easy decision to do, but finally it's happened, and it means we're gonna hope we'll see what actually happens. You would hope that all the members of the fans tribes, like they understand how the game works, and a lot of their decisions are gonna be strategy based, which I think we like. Um, and as for the favorites, even if they weren't known for their strategy, they've lived the game. So, and I can tell you, even for the four people you haven't seen yet, they all four of them knows what it feels like to be involved in the happenings of the game.
Right.
None of them got picked as a favorite because they just chilled around and did nothing.
Yeah, and I like the fact that like it doesn't necessarily carry on exactly how the same setup that Survivor China had as because it's going from one season to the next, sometimes that might be the easiest thing to do. But this season we also see the return of Exile Island.
Indeed.
Ugh.
So, yeah, your favorite. We took a break. This era of the show, like I don't know, 10, 11, 12, 13. A lot of it is known for Exile Island because it starts during this era of Survivor
Mm.
and is a part of most of the seasons. Not all of them, clearly, because we just did a season that didn't have it. Um, in fact, we have Cirie, who is from the seasons that was subtitled Exile Island. Uh, but this version is a little different because this time, because eventually, Exile Island is part of it. Part of it is being exiled, and how do you deal with being away from camp without supplies? And then eventually another part of it becomes, oh, there's something hidden here. There's an idol here. So in this case, there is an idol here, but there's a series of clues because it's a scavenger hunt, and you need to go with another person from the other tribe. And so, what you do with that is up to you, the people who are sent there. So we'll see. The versions we've seen before, which I guess is just Cook
Cook
Islands, to be
Islands?
fair. Uh,
Yeah.
its issue was that instantly Yule was there, found it, and then Exile Island didn't have a purpose ever again.
I
So at
know it's so
least
fast.
we're in a sample size of one, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but I think overall, like the premise is interesting. If you recall in some of our earlier seasons as we were watching, the one thing that I pointed out that I enjoy is like theming for seasons. So I do like the aspect of it being fans versus favorites, and I think it brings a twist that like it makes you wonder how it's gonna go and like what exactly the advantages we're gonna see. Like, are we gonna see a clear domination just from the returning survivors? I wouldn't think so. I think there's something to be said from at least the episodes that we've seen so far that the fans have it in them to put up a fight.
And
You know,
it's oh sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying I agree with you on that in regards to I think it wouldn't be a good season if it is just a the fan favorites win. I think it would be a more fun season, more memorable season. And from my understanding, it's a very popular season or a favorite season. So it's got to be where there's some push and pull to it?
I think the biggest draw is whether you're on the favorites tribe or the fans tribe, being successful in this season means taking out favorites. Because obviously, if you're just a fan, you're taking out all of them. And if you're on
Mm.
the favorites, in order to win, you're going to have to get past the rest of your tribe. So whoever does it, I mean, they're going to get their names, at least for the time, cemented in history. So, it's exciting. Any returning season is exciting. And I guess the only other version I didn't talk about is there are some seasons where, yes, it's mixed, like I said, but it's like a captain season. So you'll get like each tribe gets 2 returning players, but everybody else is new. So that's another kind that is not what we're watching here, but um so there's a different ways. Any early feelings on which side you're rooting for? This is not your winner pick, but like just as a pure fan of the game in the 2 episodes we've watched, are you like, let's go favorites, or are you let's go
Mm,
fans?
I think
Oh,
I want to root for the underdogs,
yeah,
which would
same.
be the fans. Because they're the ones that are, like they're new, like, I mean, even the first episode we saw it, where the people that have been here or, like, know what's going on, built the shelter, know exactly what to do, got the fish, we got Poseidon who's getting fish, we got fire, like, literally without flint, fire is made. They're full, they're filled with butler, they're fine, versus the fans, although watching is different than being on the show, and this shows, you could be a Survivor fan, but it doesn't mean anything when you're out there and they're struggling even though they watched it. It's not like someone that's been picked out from the street like Courtney that's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the show is." These people know what to expect, yet they were still struggling. So to like you can't help but want to root for these guys, cuz they're like the other team is all like, "Oh, we're full, we're gonna do good, we're going to beat them." And then we got the fan favorites that beat them. So it was it's a good moment to see that. Good feeling.
Yeah, I also would support the underdogs. I think it just
Heck
makes for a more
yeah.
interesting storyline. Just the unlikely winners who put it together and make it to the very end. That tends to be more interesting than the known commodity that you already know is successful that just adds to their success. So I think the big thing is like as long as they stay humble and grounded, those are the types of winners I like. Like people who stay in their own lane, they work hard, they like the people who work and earn it, like, in a way that doesn't feel like it was just handed to them or they just through sheer luck they got it. And sometimes luck is a factor regardless of, like, how you wanna play it, but generally, like, you have a feel-good winner every now and then where through the effort that they put in over the course of the season, they were able to overcome some obstacles, and I think more so than the returning survivors, that's set up as the fans. Like the fans are, we don't really know too much about them. They have to get familiar with a new environment. Whereas the returning contestants, even though it might be a different locale, they're still familiar with, okay, like we had to like make a fire. We had to essentially put stuff together. We know how much time we need to cut out for saving energy or make a shelter or make some food. That gives them a head start and a mental advantage that the other side doesn't have up until they're dealing with it themselves. So underdogs all the way.
Love to hear it. And based on that, I'm gonna call an audible. This isn't what I plan to do, but if you're fans of the fans, we're gonna start with the fans. Now, F, you are right. The story didn't tell us too much about the fans tribe. You actually didn't really tell us about either tribe. It's just that we already knew things about the favorites. Um, but uh, we can pull our thoughts on these guys from either of the first two episodes. So starting from the oldest and working down, the first three people are Chet Welch, 48 years old from Ford City, Pennsylvania, who is a pageant coach.
Mhm.
Kathy Sleckman, 45 years old from Glen Ellen, Illinois, a golf course vendor. And Tracy Hughes Wolf, 43 years old from Fredericksburg, Virginia, a residential builder. And the storyline so far has been that these three people, who are the oldest, although it's funny, just like I think I was talking about baseball earlier, where like 30-year-olds get called old. So in this case, like these 40-year-olds are also being treated like they're like the elderly. But unfortunately, these things do happen on the show, so they've been kind of segregated from the rest of the tribe, which is 7 people, which is not great. 7 versus 3 is difficult if that is how things start to play out.
Yeah, it's like you're already starting off as one of the underdogs, and to have some form of divide in your own tribe, it's hard to be able to get like it's hard to make a good first impression if people are already starting off doubting you, and sometimes you just got to work with what you have. And like if age is a factor, people are essentially not going to be counting you on you for winning any physical challenges. They might underestimate you a lot of the time. I think that just adds to that whole underdog mentality, and it's one of those things where you just work to keep those tribal lines going, at least in the early game before you get into the post merge setting, and make sure you're not part of whatever minority is forming.
Is there anything you wanted to highlight about any of those 3 people?
I think Chet has a nice style to him. He immediately got called out for being a homosexual, not admitting it himself, but by one of the other older tribesmen, Kathy. So it
And by the way,
reveals,
we phrase it that way because that is exactly how Kathy phrased it.
right. Kathy just came out and said, "Oh, you're homosexual." So it tells you a little bit about both of them, where Kathy is very direct, and Chet, who could have easily been offended there, wasn't. He just kind of took it in stride and continued to work with Kathy, and didn't really take that the wrong way, that like someone could take that the wrong way. It's not something he himself announced. It's something she just kind of declared. So I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, like I said, it tells you a little bit about Chet, that he's willing to work with people. He's sociable. Kathy can be sociable. It's just she does not seem to have a filter. And then the third person, Tracy, we didn't get to see too much about her compared to the other two, but just giving her status like within the tribe, you just hope that she's able to bring out more of a social game. I think in the early parts, especially, you need to showcase a strong social game from the get go.
Yeah, Kathy gave out like just cringe moments of being very like outwardly spoken really quickly. And I don't think that's a good thing. It's so like being so in the beginning of the game. It gets very like it's very red flags. And I mean, right from the start, people I guess is already like having her name on there. So uh I feel like Kathy's gotta be careful. I feel like Kathy's one of those that are gonna go like within the next couple of tribals.
Yeah, whenever the opportunity arises, I would think so too.
One thing for Tracy is, she did actually, like, build 'cause their shelter, and by "their," I mean them 'cause this is weird, we haven't seen this before. Even though, like, it took a while for, like, actual shouting to begin, though it did, but it escalated enough to those 3 built themselves their own sleeping area, separated from everyone else. I mean, Jeff called that out at their tribal council. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that already tells you like that tribal thing. The tribe is not doing well. There's no synergy. It's going bad. I mean, how many times could you? I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot, but I have not seen where they're like, "Well, I'm gonna sleep here, and you guys fix your own thing." Like, I'm gonna sleep under this thing, and you're not part of it. Like that shows a lot. There are arguments of like, "Let's build a shelter. Let's do something else. Let's not build a shelter." But there was never like where I'm gonna sleep there today. You figure this out on your own. Like that's pretty bad.
Yeah, to make matters worse, it happened during a period of time where their tribe actually did not even need to go to tribal. Like they had no pressure on them at that point. This was just camp duties. First couple of days just being on camp, like just getting along with each other. We're already seeing some tempers flare, a little bit of a divide between the tribes. People are already identifying, okay, this is who we need to eliminate. You would not really think that would be the case when you're not on the chopping block from the get-go. Your tribe otherwise, like challenge-wise, is doing pretty well, but we saw early signs of some troublesome activity just within the tribe itself that could lead to some further problems down the road.
Yeah, I think last on these three, do you consider any of what they did wrong? Because I will remind you, the series of events that lead to such tension is the first night being new to Survivor, they are unable to really get their shelter in a good enough place, and then they get rained on all night. Uh, and then the next days, they they don't have fire yet, and they also aren't getting much progress done on fixing that shelter. And so the more of the tribe is in favor of focusing on trying to get fire. Since, fire is food means you can get food and you can boil
Hmm.
water and all the good stuff. Um, but especially Kathy, but they are more interested in getting the shelter done. And eventually the people trying to make the fire, like Joel, they take a break, they give up for now. And so and because you need the machete to try to make fire, unless you're Yau-Man, that means they can't work on the shelter, which also needs a machete. So I don't know if it was just a difference 'cause of opinion, because I mean, fire is important, but eventually, like, if hours have passed, you also want the shelter. So
Hmm.
did you have an inkling of how that they could have done that better, or do you just suffer in silence and let them try to make a fire forever?
That's tough. I feel like it's hard to give like a right answer here just because there's a lot of things that we don't know and additional context is important. Like for instance, like they could be pretty hungry and it's not like at least for like the older folks who were waiting for the fire to be made, it was taking a while for the fire to be made, right? Like it's one of those things where they were trying to be patient with it and they just were struggling to make the fire. And it's not like, like they're just rushing to go do something else. I think it's just a case of like, yes, things could be communicated better. This isn't even necessarily miscommunication, but it's maybe people are getting dehydrated, so they're getting cranky and they're allowing tempers to flare. And it, like, yes, difference of opinion, different priorities, but part of the difference of opinion comes from the fact that they're struggling to make the fire. If they make the fire and do it, like a lot easier than ultimately what ended up happening, they make it a lot sooner, then I don't even think we see any arguments there. I think then things are pretty smooth sailing from there.
That's fair. That's fair. Also on this tribe, so I'm gonna call out. This is no longer in age order, but I'd like to call out Natalie Bolton, 32 from West Hollywood, California, a personal trainer. Alexis Jones, 24 from Beverly Hills, California, a motivational speaker. And let's stick with those two. So I called out Natalie and Alexis. Neither had anything specific uh come up, I think. So we don't know much about them yet, other than personal trainer for Natalie sounds like she will be athletic and useful in challenges. And I would argue that motivational speaker for Alexis sounds like that'd be a useful skill. You'd have a social game. The most important thing is they find themselves in the majority alliance, which I don't know if it's fully like no one's giving them a name of this alliance of 7 people, but they're part of the in crowd, I guess you might say.
Yeah, the young guns, the younger group is part of that tribe.
The young guns. You're gonna call this 7 person alliance the young guns. Okay, I'll go with it. And do you have anything on Natalie or Alexis, or should I move on?
I feel like I don't know these people enough, so I'm gonna hold off for now until I
Okay,
know more about
that's fair.
them.
That is fine. Okay. Um, Next, I would like to talk about our 2 youngest people on the tribe, which are Jason Siska, 22 years old from Fox River Grove, Illinois, a gymnastics coach, and also 22 years old from Ypsilanti, Michigan, the ice cream scooper, Erik Reichenbach.
Heck
I
yeah.
I love that he put an ice cream scooper on there. Like it wasn't. I have a feeling he might have been like he worked for Cold Stone or something or some like chain restaurant, and they were like, CBS is like, no, we can't do that. We can't be giving out free promos. So you shall be deemed ice cream scooper, okay?
In my opinion, that is the best job title we've seen so far in Survivor.
Heck yeah, I love it. I love it. He is very, Erik is very. The other guys, Erik and Jason. They're both very good at the sports and like the challenges. They seem like they would be really good at challenges. And you see Erik kind of like being our second in line Poseidon, And was it Erik was the one that had his own little cave area when the whole debacle happened? Was it
No,
Erik? No,
That
it
that
was
was Erik.
was
Jason.
Jason. Yeah,
Jason,
Jason.
never mind. Jason wanted to build that. Erik,
Yeah.
I think that he was collecting stuff then.
Yeah, he was
And then
around.
yes, he was around. Jason was the one. Jason, yeah. He's got fire with other people already. So I don't know how far Jason would go. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I was gonna say it seems that like they're both young, like they're both, yeah, as you said, they'd probably do pretty well in the athletic activities. But I think they both have a little bit of cutthroatness to them. So like it's not even just Jason. Jason was in a sequence that we had with like the older group when they were trying to come and join the cave area that they were actually trying to set up. Jason essentially just shooed them away and said like, yeah, no, this is my spot right here. Like he didn't look to share or help them out. He just kind of stood his ground and said, this is really just my turf. And I mean, I I don't agree with that. I feel like you should try to like lend a hand to someone if they need it, and especially like early in the game, you want to build relationships with as many people as possible, and that is just not the way to do that. And then in Erik's case, Erik, like in his inner thoughts, we get to learn that like, oh, like yeah, even this person does this and this person does this, so this person needs to be a target. Uh, he's pretty blunt during tribal, so it's one of those cases where you got to keep an eye out for them just because they might, like, just looking at them, they might look like they might have this innocent demeanor, but they're probably pretty cutthroat based on their actions.
Gotta watch out for those gymnastic coaches and ice cream scoopers. They gonna get you. I do
Indeed.
like that in the very beginning, as the favorites are being introduced for the first time to the fans, we get some of the fans' thoughts, and one of them was from Erik, who is stepping up to the plate to be a challenger against Ozzy, because he specifically calls out like he's great, but in addition to being an ice cream scooper, I'm also a track athlete, so I think I could take him. So Erik not backing down, which you gotta respect.
Yeah,
Um,
like it.
and another person who didn't back down was Joel Anderson, 32 years old from Avondale, Arizona, who is a firefighter. Uh, Joel made that comment about James, who he pointed out that James may be like the biggest physical player ever to play until me. paraphrasing is essentially what he's saying. Like he so Erik wants to take on Ozzy and Joel wants to take on James.
Yeah. No, Joel actually gives some like major meathead vibes, and yeah, like I'm saying that stereotypically based on like some of his actions. Like it's just he's trying to. It's funny because like I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh, okay. I hope this guy is not a stereotype. But I think based on what we've seen in the first two episodes, he hasn't done much to detract that.
Well, do either of you? I'll flip it to you. And do you like what he's done? Because Joel's he kind of has two sides to him because he does genuinely be seeming to be acting for the tribe's best interest. Like a lot of what he says is about keeping the tribe together and the tribe strong. Um, but he's also, making he's not making friends with the people who he doesn't care to make friends with.
Yeah, it's not good because in the end we're gonna merge, you know? And someday we're gonna be all together. So is it very smart to say these things? I don't think so. I don't think ever it is a good like time to make enemies or make people not like you and especially in Survivor. So I think that's not a good play. You could act confident, but it's like it also rubs people the wrong way. So I think it's just too much for me. I think it rubs them the wrong way. Nobody and if you win, it's like oh they're so annoying. If you lose, it's like wow you can't even like you're all talk, huh? So it's bad either way. So why do it? That's where I'm going with.
What fascinated me the most is that I agree, F. He does come across as a meathead. And as a meathead, I would expect his number one target to be Chet, who he himself was frustrated at and yelling to during their challenge in the second episode. And Chet did seem like the least useful in that challenge. And yet his target becomes not about challenge strength at all. It actually is. I guess you would say to take out a threat who he's identified in Mikey, or as the show says, Mikey B.
Mikey
Uh,
Yeah.
B.
and he intends to weaken Mikey B by taking out his number one ally of Mary. So it seems like the meathead is prioritizing his own strategy versus anything else.
I think that's a good point. I think that does that actually takes a little bit away from the stereotype because it shows a little bit of strategic thinking towards the very end of that second episode, and it gives you sort of perspective on things that like yes, like there's more to people than like you can't just judge a book by its cover. I think for him the initial thought I had is he sees another alpha in Mike. He doesn't want someone else to be able to Mikey B, I should say. He doesn't want someone else putting out orders. He doesn't want someone else to maybe have that appearance of a number one. As he's trying to actually sway some votes towards Mary, he does indicate that, like, yeah, I mean, if they see me as powerful, if they see me as a threat, then I got to deal with it. Indicating that like it's something that like he's aware that like it's a position he'll put himself in, but it's not a position he wants to see Mikey in, obviously. So it's one of those things where he wants to be seen as the figurehead in a way. He wants to be seen as someone powerful, someone who can be a threat. And while yeah, that's great, it's just it's hard to make it to the very end of Survivor playing that sort of game.
Exactly. And since we're talking about him, Mikey B, Mikey Borton, 34 years old from Los Angeles, California, an aspiring writer, and Mary Sartain, 28, from Emeryville, California, a real estate manager. Uh, so unfortunately for Mary, maybe this is just a combination of being the first one eliminated and being in in the beginning of a season where a lot of it is dedicated to learning who people are, and maybe a symptom of the times, but her only story is Mikey seems to like you. I don't even know that we get if she likes Mikey, actually. So I there's not really much for Mary, sadly.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunate. It's just
Mikey's got a little bit more. I mean, his thing is, like I said, it seems that he likes Mary, and we also see a big strategy moment. I think we put a pin in it, but essentially, he has an idea on how their majority 7-person alliance should vote at the upcoming tribal. And unfortunately, voicing that opinion leads to a chain reaction that gets Mary voted out. But put a pin in it. We'll talk about it for that tribal. Uh, Out of the 10, do either of you have like a standout? Like again, not your winner picks, but just like I like the cut of their jib. Like I want to root for them out of this group.
Ooh.
m- mine actually probably would be one of the people I would deem a winner pick, just
Oh,
because I
okay.
like the vibe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Erik for me. I like the vibe. I like the competitiveness. I've not seen the full side of his social game, but man, digging that hair, huh?
I like it. Um, for me, I think so far, I think only one person really stand out to me, and it's Mikey. I feel like I don't know, I feel like he might have a pretty okay social game to him as of now. I don't know about later, but for the now being, I see that he's got potential, and let's see where Mikey goes.
That's Mikey B to you.
Mikey B, sorry, my bad. Maybe that's why I remember him so well because I'm like Mikey B, Mikey
And by the
B.
way, I assure you, there are no other Michaels on the season. So
Are you sure about that? Maybe Jeff goes by Mikey in this season.
It's the whole Jersey Shore thing. It's the whole like calling him Pauly D instead of most people could just say Pauly, but no, they got to say Pauly D.
Pauly D. But all right, there's our fans. I'm happy we gave them the time. I think they should deserve because at the beginning, all we know about them is they all want to be here. They're all fans. They all know the game. So uh, that's great. But now it's time for our returning players, our favorites tribe. And last clarification. So these are favorites, but production did like pick them all. This isn't. There will be future seasons where they allow fans to vote to decide who goes on,
Oh.
but this is not one of those. So this is production makes their best educated guess on who fans will be most excited to see, like fans at home, and then out of those people who actually can show up, because some people are too busy or some people don't want to, etc. Um, so starting from the oldest, we have Yau-Man Chan, 55 years old from Martinez, California, a computer engineer, and his season was Fiji, season 14. What did we think of Yau-Man?
He's cute. He seems very popular. Like I haven't watched the season he was in, but he seemed popular. You like the fans are clapping, they're hyped up, and he's this cute little man who is super smart and made fire with his glasses in the sun reflection. Like what? That's incredible. You see this in like cartoons. You don't see this in real life. And I don't know, it's cute, and I also, give him points to him for pushing Jonny Fairplay
Oh,
on a
yeah.
boat for the final. 'Cause that was kind of incredible. I'm sorry, Jonny Fairplay. Actually, no,
Yeah,
I'm not sorry.
he's a good vibe to him. Don't know much about
Yeah.
him. Looking forward to learning more about him.
Yeah, he seems like a sweet guy, no drama, just a sweetie pie.
I can give you a little information from his bio. So he currently is the CTO, is the Chief Technology Officer for the College of Chemistry at the University of California, Berkeley.
Wow.
Uh,
Impressive.
Dang, professor.
but he also enjoys playing table tennis, bicycling, woodworking, and reading. At the time, was a member of the USA Table Tennis Association.
My
Considers himself
goodness.
intellectual and contemplative. A natural leader, good organizer, very skilled with his hands, very resourceful, uh, and feels he possesses a keen intellect.
I
Uh,
believe it.
else?
Yeah. We do see a bit of that.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
And I think in this case, these first 2 episodes do a good job of describing how he was on his season. So I don't think like he's the I think the impression is sufficient in my opinion.
Yeah, I
Uh
like him.
yeah. Next we have Jonathan Penner, who we have seen. He is now 45 years old from Los Angeles, California, a writer from Cook Islands. How does it feel for Jonathan to be back?
This was
I
one of the
thought,
surprising. I was
yeah,
not expecting this one.
yeah, it was kind of for me. I had enough of him. I didn't need to see him again. Uh,
All
that's
I'll
where
say
I
is,
was.
since he's a writer, if there's an opportunity and they both get into a post merge setting, his dynamic with Mikey B could be interesting because he's a writer and Mikey B is an aspiring writer. So Mikey B could just be like thinking that like, oh, okay, well, I don't like my chances in this game, but let me try to leverage it somehow and just build a connection with a writer and do something positive for myself outside this game.
Like by that, what do you mean? Like leverage?
Just
Like,
like
oh,
build a
if I vote
connection.
for you, oh, okay. Like if I vote for you for a final, like would you like hit
No,
me
like
up?
just
Like,
completely outside of the game. Like this has nothing to
oh, okay, okay, okay. I thought you meant like
like
I
he's
thought it was one of
leveraging
the
the fact that
okay.
like, oh, now I know a writer, I could pick his brain. It's like if they
Yeah,
had
yeah, learn more
LinkedIn
about
back in the
him.
day, connect
I
with them on
see, I
LinkedIn.
see. If I thought you meant with like leverage, I mean like I thought you meant like, hey, if I vote for you to win that $1 million, you've made it the final three, you gotta hit me up with a publisher, so I
He
could
could do
like,
that. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that'd be an interesting way to
I
end the
know,
season. Yeah.
I know.
I will say in his bio, he does call out that yes, writer, but also producer, also director, um,
It's like I'm not
actor.
just a writer.
Was on. I don't know these shows because I'm not a TV guy, especially because I was a kid at the time. But
Actor on
a regular role
Survivor.
on actor. He's on the TV shows Grapevine, The Naked Truth, Rude Awakening. Guest starred CSI, The Nanny, Seinfeld, Arrested Development. So he's
Wait,
got
he
out
was on
there.
Seinfeld? Wow. Okay.
Yes, sir. Those last ones were guest stars, but yes, sir.
Still,
I think one thing for
that's
Jonathan
something.
is what we've seen of him so far in these 2 episodes, I do imagine is what he envisioned for Cook Islands, because he does seem to be part of a lot of conversations in their four-person alliance, whereas he kind of sunk to the bottom of the alliance that started on Cook Islands, and then obviously he eventually mutinies, and then it all spirals out of control. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Next, we have Cirie Fields, 37 years old, from Norwalk, Connecticut, uh, a nurse, and from season 12, Panama, which was subtitled Exile Island. What do we think of Cirie?
Don't have much to go on with her. It was just she was one of the people put on an Exile Island with Kathy in one of the episodes. So I could just go by what Kathy was saying, where she described her as nice, very kind hearted, and had a motherly vibe to her.
Yeah, I would say I don't really know much about Suri either, besides her saying she's a couch potato. So I don't know her that well. I'll be honest. I don't. We haven't seen her season, so I don't know her that well. But I'm excited to learn more about her.
Uh, I'll also, since we don't know her, in her bio, she was at the time was currently the clinical coordinator for Norwalk Hospital's operating room, and she had been a surgical technician, home health aide, and working at a candy factory. Uh,
That is so
Wait, like
cool,
at the
actually.
same time? Because that's like those are like two
no,
completely different.
no. Those last things were all before her current
Oh,
thing.
okay, okay.
Um,
That's an interesting career progression.
She says about herself, she believes she will be the ultimate survivor because people love her cute, smiling personality.
Aw. Wait, that's cute.
So hopefully she's right about that and she's not just like hated or something.
I know,
Uh,
watch it be like she's actually villainous and like nobody likes her. We were
I mean, based on what
bamboozled.
Kathy was saying, that'd be surprising.
yeah, I'll let you know that her her the impression they would have got from her watching her season is that that's all true. Like super super likable. But people change, so who knows what hell she'll be on this season.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's true.
Next, we have Amy Cusack, 34 years old from Golden, Colorado, barista and nanny from the ninth season, Vanuatu Islands of Fire. Um, Amy, the only real thing for Amy is that she is a part of what's kind of being dubbed Jonathan's group. So like the other four. Um, she has not quite yet been able to, I think, spread her wings, but I would like to lump in here Eliza Orleans from also that same season, Vanuatu, 24 years old from Manhattan, New York, a law school student. Which, by the way, I looked up her previous bio for that season. I think was like pre-law student, so she has succeeded advancing from pre-law to regular law.
Let's
So
go.
good job, Eliza. Eliza's more vocal in their strategy because um, she helps out the attitude of to everybody, like let's beat the fans, and also scoffs at Jonathan for wanting to include Jonny Fairplay in their alliance from the beginning. Um,
Yeah, people are on edge about Eliza, so she might have a deceptive social game based on
Mhm.
how she's
Mhm.
described. Really nothing to go by for Amy. Amy might have had, I think, probably the least amount of screen time out of anyone so far in the first two episodes. So Amy is a huge question mark.
yeah, from her season, well, from her and Eliza's season, uh, her reputation would have been like this sounds weird to say. Like, we talked about Yule, like the Godfather before, is like in charge of everything. Like she would have been like godmother, I guess, but that doesn't sound right. But
Oh.
uh but so far it hasn't at very least it's not made screen of people being worried about that. Whereas you're right, they do call out Eliza. Eliza's reputation was like rambunctious, making trouble. But like I sent you that thumbnail from the other video, but cat with 9 lives of being able to survive when you would think all is lost. Um, and not in the way that you might say Chet survived this time via things he didn't participate in, but Eliza like would save herself. Uh,
Well, that's
so we'll
impressive.
see. I don't, I don't know. We'll see if their story continues next episode. For Amy, let's just see here. She is one of the original 6 employees of a nutritional company called Experiment and Applied Sciences in Colorado. Uh, and she's now the she was a charitable director of that organization. And then that company got sold and she got to travel for 4 years, which she went to Australia, Thailand, Tahiti, Iceland, Japan, and Africa. So well traveled.
Oh, that's fun.
Uh, and she's happy working at a coffee shop right now. And she made sure to call out that she's also a nanny. So I forget if the show says barista or nanny, but in her bio, she is both. Um, so that's nice. We'll see what Amy gets up to. Like I said, Eliza now in law school proper. She has a massive bio which you can look at your own time because this is a gigantic wall of text. Um, but suffice to say, uh, doing quite well in the law field, though not a lawyer yet.
Very cool.
Ooh, but I can't say describes herself as, this is Eliza, intense, vivacious, driven, and politically active woman who loves reality TV, sports, especially New York and Syracuse teams, and
Oh,
her puppy Oscar.
oh, that's my brother's name. Cute.
You're saying your brother's a dog?
Well, yes, a cute one. No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
I think Eliza's pretty cool. I think the fact that everybody's talking about her should perk my ears a little bit, you know? The fact that everyone's like saying that she's really good. I'm like, "Ooh, okay. She's got to be really good her last season, you know?" So far she's just, I don't know, to me she's kind of regular, but I think everybody around her is hyping her up so much where I'm like, "Oh yeah, she's got to be real good."
I wonder if not for the fair play nonsense, if we would have got a lot more from this whole tribe. But him pseudo quitting kind
Oh my
of
gosh.
changed what the edit would be for all these people. Speaking of Jonny Fairplay, 33 years old, Los Angeles, California, still listed as an art consultant, which I think is what I said last time, from Pearl Islands. Before the last 5 minutes of the first episode, I think Fairplay acted like exactly how you would have imagined he would act if he were to ever come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1,000%.
not a fan. Just not a fan of Jonny Fairplay.
He just doesn't give out bad vibes for me. And he doesn't do it for me. I'm not into him, and I can care less. He came back. I'm just sad that he took a spot from someone else, you know? That like wanted more versus like would have pushed through to not be voted out. So it's disappointing. I mean, he did
Yeah,
not prove himself to be a better player than he was the other
I
time.
think uh I think Jeff's attitude also kind of showed that like it just someone's just kind of giving up in the game, and if it's a returning player that you're sending an invite to, getting them to come back, they already know all the bells and whistles. It's just extra disappointing, but it is what it is. Someone's got to get eliminated. It's just weird the way that it happened with Jonny Fairplay.
Yeah.
All I can say is if that's how he genuinely felt, which after the fact it would seem he did feel that way. Like there's nothing to be gained to lie about that and actually get eliminated. Like if it had been some kind of scheme where to trick people, maybe, although I don't even know what that would have accomplished tricking them anyway. Um, so it's better to go immediately than like stick around for many episodes and then suddenly leave and throw everything into disarray.
The question
So I guess
becomes,
that's
why
the best
even
I can say.
participate if your heart's not in it in the first place?
Well, yeah.
Exactly. It's not like we're like day 30 and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like I really miss them," or like, all this stuff, but it's like it's day 2, bro. Like you knew she was pregnant, right? Like I'm not trying to like undermine the fact that his girlfriend's pregnant with his daughter, but like it's like you knew coming into this what's going on.
Yeah, it's odd. I'm sure there are like behind the scenes more, but the best I can do is like he felt what he felt, and the only thing is he wouldn't quit, which I guess he witnessed the loathing that Jeff had towards Austin from that's his season. So I'm sure he
Oh
wanted
my
to
gosh, I forgot
avoid
Austin was in that
that.
season. You're right.
He wanted yeah, I'm sure he wanted to avoid that
He
treatment
was
so he
like,
would not
Not
utter
that,
the
not
words "I
that."
quit."
Well, I would say he didn't do a good job. And my hope is this is the last we see of Jonny Fairplay.
Uh, it's crazy F because you are never like a disliker in anybody like that, but I love how strong you are against Johnny Fairplay because I feel that for sure. Like I'm on that side.
It, he just, I mean, he stoops to pretty low lows. Like, we've seen him do that, and I just
Yeah.
don't like the way that he plays the game. I'm going to be completely honest about that. And I
Mm-hmm.
could see how it could be entertaining for others, but it just isn't for me. And as you said, that it makes me wonder that someone else could have taken that spot and done more with it. So
Yeah.
it's a missed opportunity for me.
1,000% agree on that.
So I guess we can
I
just
think,
settle this right
yeah.
now. Am I to take it that you do not want to see Jonny Fairplay a third time?
Oh God, no. Don't even put that into like the world. Will, like, don't.
This is where he reveals to us that, yes, Jonny Fairplay is
Oh my
coming back for
gosh.
Survivor 50.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's gonna be interesting. Like, anytime a favorite gets eliminated, it's gonna be weird because the question's still gonna be, do you want to see them again? But in your minds, like, do I want them a third time? So
No.
that'll be interesting.
No.
I know
I feel
no
like
for
even if I
Fairplay,
like the guy,
but
once is good, twice is okay. But like, I don't want to keep seeing the
Really?
same
Yeah.
person show up again and again. Yeah, because you want to see
Yeah.
more people compete. And the element
Yeah.
of Survivor I like is the unpredictability. And if you've
Mhm.
seen someone compete multiple times, it's like, I want to see someone else get that opportunity instead.
Yeah. Will's next season is the theme is everybody has failed twice and is coming back.
this is
Yeah, we're building
Survivor
a theme
third
here.
chances.
Yes, third chances, not second
So-
chances, third chances.
However many
So-
chances until Jonny Fairplay can actually win a season.
Oh
I
my
honestly
God.
wonder if he does come back. I think Jeff would never invite him back ever again.
Unless
Yeah,
he
it
draws in
really
those
looked.
views.
Unless he draws in
You
the
know, he's
views, though, it really looked like some bridges were burned here.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, I know, but you guys don't know.
But you never know. Oh, but I do know.
So that leaves 4 people, and what a 4 people it is. So of course, we're gonna talk about them in pairs. So first of all, uh, Ozzy Lush from at this point in Venice, California, 26 years old now, photographer, uh, from Cook Islands, and Amanda Kimmel, 1 year older, 23, Los Angeles, California. Uh, her bio is still the same, I think. So aspiring designer, and actually no, last time it was like hiking tour guide, I think. So it has changed. Season 15, China, and they're together because they might be together on the show if after a day, 2 days.
What are your thoughts on Ozzy's new hairstyle?
I love it. I love it. I think it looks great. He looks great. Ozzy Slay. What do you think? You don't like it? I mean, you
No,
gotta.
no, no.
You.
I think
Oh,
I
okay,
think it's
okay.
clean. I think it would probably grow on me probably over the course of the season, but it's like when I see the old Ozzy with the flow, it's like, man,
With the
those were the good
flow.
times. Yeah, just missing that flow right now.
I do miss like as he dives into the water with the long hair, like
Yeah,
it's when
it,
it's in the wind flowing, and then when he comes out of the water, now like he could like whip his
he
hair
had
around.
more stereotypical like surfer beach dude vibes, and now he's kind of lost a bit of that.
He's just a guy.
I can't stereotype him the way I could in Cook Islands. That's
I can't with you guys. That's too funny.
Burying the lead though, power couple question mark
You mean power couples? Question mark?
couples, but well, we haven't got to the other 2 yet, but
Oh, that's true.
but because I think Ozzy and I mean both of them. So the other 2 we're talking about are James and Parvati. James Clement from China, we just watched, still a gravedigger, 30 years old, Lafayette, Louisiana, and Parvati Shallow, 25 years old, Los Angeles, California, now a charity organizer from Cook Islands. It seems that Ozzy and Amanda and James and Parvati have all hooked up, though Ozzy and Amanda are just openly making out in front of everyone. Now, granted, at night, but still right next to everybody.
Oh my
you know what's
god.
funny? I can recall back like on Cook Islands, like towards like the end of the season where Parvati, I'm pretty sure was trying to like hook up with Ozzy too.
Yes. Yes, I
And
remember that.
he at least turned that down, but he didn't turn this down right at the start of the season. So that's interesting.
It's interesting because in his like log, he's saying like, "Oh, I'm trying to like, stay away from her. It's not a good idea. Like, I'm gonna be like targeted if they knew." And here he is, like, making out with the girl at night, like where
Well, he has a
everybody's
type.
sleeping, less than like a feet away from you. It's like, sir, what? Hello.
He definitely found his type. That's all it took.
It. I don't know.
Oh,
It just feels
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
just so fast, man. Like I'm like, whoa, whiplash day
We
2, and we're
we
already
could have
like making out.
we could have started the season of Survivor in that sequence, and like
Yeah,
that would have been like a weird feeling,
yeah.
but like not too different from what we're feeling right now,
I wasn't aware we're watching Love Island. I thought we were watching Survivor.
right?
I mean, really, because James and Parvati also not. I mean, they are just as obvious, but they're not as overt as Ozzy and Amanda, just right in people's faces. But still,
So far,
uh,
so far, they'll build
so
to it.
far, so far.
It's interesting
Yeah,
because Parvati on
fair.
her season was making out with whatever that guy's name is.
Was
Oh,
it Matt?
that's no.
Who was it? Yeah, I like forget.
He was like giving Brad
with
Pitt vibes. I
Candace.
remember. Yeah, well,
This
Candace's man,
this
not really with Candace, but yes.
yes. Uh, yeah. Parvati says that she's gonna actually use it for strategy this time,
I don't know.
and it could be true. I mean, she did say the same thing last time, but now she has her experience from last time, so we'll see how it goes. Plus, it doesn't. In theory, it shouldn't hurt to be aligned with maybe the most powerful person on the entire tribe.
No, you're
You
right.
can argue whether it's James or Ozzy, but in this, both of them, super like seems like a good idea on paper. I guess is what I'm saying. If I mean, you just can't be like ultimately a minority alliance. And what's interesting is that it seems I don't know that the four of them have declared themselves an alliance, but Jonathan and a lot of the other people have just like kind of decided that they're probably all going to work together, the four of them,
Mm-hmm.
which is what spawns everybody else starting to get together to go against them. They do call out Parvati as the one they would target. So I guess at the end of the day, we can criticize Parvati the most because she put herself in danger because of all this. But that never happens because Jonny Fairplay does his antics and asks to be voted out. So we don't know what would have happened otherwise. Plus, Cirie, we never get to hear her thoughts in episode 1, unlike what side she would choose, and then we don't know what Fairplay would have done. So it's all left up in the air. But we'll see. We'll see how far this goes. Like maybe this was only like a 2-episode thing, or maybe one of them gets eliminated. Maybe these four dominate, and it's like the final four are those people. Uh, hard to say. Hard to say.
Indeed.
But that's our favorite. So same question, not necessarily a winner pick, but did any of these people like jump out of like I want to root for them out of the favorites?
Probably Yau-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I might have to agree with you on that
Yeah,
because
man.
he's just a sweetie pie. But I'm worried that he's so likable that they're going to be worried. Like they don't want him to be there cuz if he was final 3, final 2, he's going to win. Like, I feel like I know it's really far, like, right now, this is not what we're worry about. I don't know how he really is in a physical challenge, so maybe that's a reason to take him out if he's not good at it. He seems like he is a great puzzler. He seems like he's helping around camp, so those are, like, beginnings. Like, I feel like beginning, middle, end game reasons to kick someone out differs so much, but, like, I think end game, middle game would be that I don't wanna be with him in the final 3 or 2. I'm not gonna beat him. So I feel like he may last, but not like long mid game or like early game ish, like late early game,
Yeah, I'd
Or
be surprised if he makes it to like post merge.
me too, which is what I'm worried about because I really like him, but I feel like not a lot of people are talking game with him. Like I never seen somebody talk game with him. He's been just on his own, making fire, doing his own thing. I don't see people wanting to talk to him, and that breaks my heart. What's happening?
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, for again, fair play messes up the flow of the episode and like the edit itself. But and then in episode 2 they don't go to tribal, but in episode 1 we see Jonathan, a group of Jonathan, Amy, and Eliza strategizing together. And then at some point they talk to fair play. And then we also see Parvati, uh, and I think she was with Ozzy and Amanda possibly, and also or maybe James and Ozzy, but eventually fair play in that too. So you're right. Yau-Man was not part of that, though. I'm sure like Jonathan at least considers Yau-Man as part of the bigger group. Um, but yeah, so that's our cast. Now we've talked about actually kind of incidentally a lot of the stuff that happened in the episode, but let's just run through the specifics. So in the first episode, after Jeff has the grand reveal and we get everybody, then not quite a cold open like we've seen a couple times, but it is like the first thing you're gonna do is sprint across the water, all the way to the other side to the other beach, where you're gonna search for this mysterious immunity idol that you can use only at the next tribal. So he doesn't spell it out, but basically this is like an individual immunity challenge is essentially what it is, because the idol here works like a necklace because it's not something you use after the vote. It's something you that just makes you immune. No one can vote for you unless you choose to give it to somebody else like before the votes. Everybody runs across. Uh, Point for Erik. He is the first person to get to the beach, so he's there before Ozzy, although Ozzy's next. Um, but neither of them find it. A bunch of people are struggling to find it, and in fact, it is Jonny Fairplay. He finds one of the idols first, but unfortunately, he grabbed the other tribe's idol, which is not good for him. He drops it on the ground and starts running to the other one, which is on the boat, one of the boats. Yau-Man notices this, so they're both running. They kind of slam into each other, and it's Yau-Man that grabs the idol first. So this is like our first impression of Yau-Man, funny enough, other than what people are saying about him. And it's like shoving fair play into a boat, which is kind of funny.
When I'm sure he already won fan favorite by doing that. And that's why F likes him so much. Because F is like, I want to do that.
Yep, you caught me. It's true.
Yau-Man not done though. Then he's already done it. He has it, and no one else has noticed the other idol. And Kathy's kind of just standing around, and Yau-Man's like, "Pick that up," and she does, and whoa, Kathy has the
That was
idol too
funny.
now.
Just a casual walk up, grab the idol, pick it up. Now it's yours. Love it.
Yeah, I don't know if this was a strategy by Yau-Man. Is this is just like instincts of being helpful kick in, or I don't know, because I mean, maybe like Kathy looks like someone who stereotypically could be an early target. Therefore, it might be nice to give her the idol. Like, would he have done that for Joel if he was standing there? I don't know.
Huh. That's interesting thought. I didn't. That would be really good on him to play to like read that because in the end he was right. He was right on the money. Or was it just the luck of the draw? You know.
Certainly could be. Certainly could be. Uh, did you like this beginning? Did it interest you?
You know this early idol thing is weird. I'm not gonna lie. This is new to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know what was the point. I guess it just felt like I guess I don't know. I didn't think was it necessary.
I wouldn't want them to be so brazen with it. Like, just have them put in some effort finding it like hidden on an island somewhere. I like that more than, oh, it's like right there. Especially like with how Kathy came across hers. Like, that's just, it just seems too easy.
Now it is, like I said, it's not even the terminology is it's not a hidden immunity idol, which is the thing you can play after the votes. It's basically like the immunity necklace is how it asks. So it's not very powerful, and it has to be used the next time you go to tribal council. But you're right. You
I
just
would,
like walk up and get it.
yeah, I mean, I would like to just keep that to like a challenge. I think that works. Simple.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I like seeing something because the alternative is just, all right, go off to your camps, and we just skip this. Um, and this is you could say this was a challenge. Like it won't officially be marked as like that, but you could say. Plus, like Ange said, it gets Yau-Man shoving Fairplay into the ground. So that was nice.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
then we get to the camps, like we talked about, the fans. Although it seems like they're cool with each other, they're excited, they're united to beat the favorites. They do struggle at the like actual making of camp, whether it's fire or later or making the shelter and that stuff. Which I mean, they're all new, so that's makes sense. Um, the favorites do not struggle with that. They do a great job making shelter. Yau-Man makes fire without flint. Ozzy catches fish. I mean, like it ends up being that this is an interesting like a lot of the times when you stack up two tribes against each other in the beginning of the game, it's like ooh, like in China they have James. They're gonna have a great time in the pre-merge because James is gonna help them win a lot of challenges. Which you could say that now they do have James again. But more than that, because these are all returning players, they just know how stuff works at camp already. So it increases the chances that they're gonna know how to make shelter and know how to make fire and know how to catch food and know how to get plants and berries and all those things, coconuts. So we'll see if that because you think that would affect things like the longer the game goes, the bigger an advantage that's gonna be on paper if they continue being well fed. That being said, sample size of 2 is 1-1, both tribes. So, which we haven't had in a while. We've had, I think, F, you made this point in one of our recent podcast episodes. We see a lot of one tribe winning a lot lately.
Yeah,
So in this season,
I'm
at
hoping
least, so
that's not the
far,
case here.
it's 1-1. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I was saying I'm hoping that's not the case here. It's not a good way to start a season, I would say.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So far it's even, and we'll see how things advance. We would eventually go to the true first immunity challenge, which was called Reinventing the Wheel. So this is when there's a cart, but to make the wheels, the four wheels of that cart, there's a couple puzzle pieces to put together that form the wheels. You put it on the cart, and then you push the cart through various obstacles. And at the end of the course, you have to take off the wheels, and each of those puzzle pieces that made the wheel also solve the puzzle. And then that puzzle actually is like a giant wheel in of itself, which you could spin around. Like, uh, I don't know the word, but if you're there's like handles on the side and everyone runs in a circle and it spins, and that ultimately makes a
It
fire
lights up
ignite
an
to
urn.
signal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to signal the win. I actually do like in China we had like that one challenge where as you score points, like fireworks go off. It is a nice touch when like winning, like there's something happens to signals to win other than you finish the puzzle and Jeff's like, "That's it, they've done it," or something like that.
Yeah, the setup to this was pretty interesting. It made it look like, because they didn't have too much trouble at their camp, that the returnees were going to have an easy time, potentially even steamroll the fans. And Jonny Fairplay to start talks about like, oh, like we had food, we had this, we had that. Like he was trying to like, I guess, either get under their skin or, I mean, truthfully, they
Demoralize
were
them.
eating well. So that did not actually come into play. Like you got to give credit to the fans. The fans actually got the wheel set up very quickly. Essentially, got their little ride that they had to tug on very quickly throughout the obstacles. And compared to the returnees, the favorites, they were struggling quite a bit. And I believe it was Eliza who got hit like near her eye, like as they were trying to get through some of their obstacles. They were
That's
pretty
right. Yeah.
far behind by the time the fans ended up clearing the obstacle and ended up taking away the win.
Yeah. Oh, at this point, 0 for 1 are the favorites. And in this, unlike episode 2, there's not an obvious person that failed, I think, that you could point at here.
No.
Like, at most, you could say James and Jonathan, who it's like to move that cart, 2 people are tied to it, like with a rope. There's 2 people sitting inside it, like you said, and everybody else
Yeah.
can choose to push or just run it aside. So Jonathan and James, maybe if they could have paid more attention to not let the cart hit the tree branch, which ultimately like almost flips the cart and cuts Eliza. But other than that, it doesn't. And I think what's interesting, so because of this, it's gonna be the favorites. Oh, their tribe does have a name, by the way. Their tribe name is Malachi,
Malachi.
or maybe Malakal.
Oh, Malachi. That's a pretty cool name.
Yes, Malakal or Malachi. I gotta wait for next episode to see how Jeff pronounces it. Um, but the thing is, the world considers this the favorites tribe, so I'm probably gonna call it the
Easier to
favorites
remember
tribe.
that way too. Yeah.
uh, but that sends them to tribal council, and often episode ones are about pick somebody who's not in my alliance and come up with a reason, whether I believe it or not, that they should go. But before the fair play nonsense, actually, all the reasons brought up are kind. I think they make sense. It's what's happened is that the couples might be aligned. It's like technically, again, they have not said the words like "let's work together," but it's more like, who should we target? They start saying Eliza, and then Parvati is like, well, like, probably James will vote with Amanda. Like Amanda will vote for us. Um, and then on the other side, Jonathan, Eliza, Amy, and Yau-Man, they have a more defined alliance. They look like they're more consciously making an effort to be together. They want to target Parvati in part because of the showmance, but also they're acknowledging that she could be dangerous in the long run. And you're probably not gonna get rid of James or Ozzy because you want to win these challenges. So therefore, and they don't know Amanda, like you said, Ange. If they've only seen the first half of season 15 because of the timing of when you're shooting and when things air, Amanda hasn't done that much, so an unknown factor. So that's how they kind of settle on Parvati, which I think it makes sense. And then for the others, it makes sense for Eliza, I think, for the similar reasons. That leaves Cirie and Fairplay in the middle. We never find out what Cirie was thinking because before that, Fairplay just says that he's really struggling being away from home from his girlfriend. It was 2 months from giving birth. And eventually that all leads to him wanting to be voted out. We've talked about this. They do honor that request at Tribal, but not before Jeff puts in as many shots as he can before before Fairplay goes home. He tries to get him to admit this is a quit, which he does not, by the way. Uh, in your archives in the record books, will you be considering this a quit?
Oh,
I will.
1000%.
Yeah,
Yes, he
for
quit.
sure.
He's begging
Very
to
well.
quit.
By the Survivor rule book, it will not go down as a quit, but I think we all know what happened here. Um, Jeff also, this was a little mean, but maybe accurate. Jeff kind of just says straight up like John, like Fairplay, like from my perspective, kind of looks like someone who lost the first challenge and didn't expect remember how hard it is and just wants to go home. And Jeff
Oh,
kind of just
yeah.
like
Oh
Yeah.
throws
yeah,
just
pretty
says
much.
that. Now he does this twice. The second time is when he's trying to get someone to say that Johnny quit, but he then tosses that over to one of the other favorites, like, "Do you think that's accurate?" And then that person, I think it was Ozzy, and Ozzy said no. I think everyone else just didn't want to cause more drama, so they were nice.
Yeah.
But Jeff was not happy, and we
Yeah.
weren't happy. Everyone was unhappy.
On his way out, once Johnny did get voted out, It was interesting to see he asked Jeff for a hug. You could see for like a split second there the hesitation that Jeff had. You knew he did not want any part of that hug, but he's like, okay, I only have to see this guy for a few more minutes. Let's just get this
Mhm.
over with.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just like, I don't really want to, but okay, whatever.
And then he
Just go.
banished him to
Get
the
out of here."
shadow realm.
Yep.
Indeed. So then we go to the next episode. Everyone on the favorites tribe is kind of can't believe that it actually happened, that Fairplay's gone, but they're gonna move on. Um, we do see that Jonathan is a little upset because he was the one that wanted to include Fairplay in their alliance.
Mhm.
Now, it didn't sound like anybody else wanted that to happen, so now he can't. Maybe this will be a blessing in disguise. 'Cause I think you said F, like, why would you want Fairplay to willingly be in your alliance? Um, though, Jonathan, he did spell it out. He's like, well, he's a savvy player, clearly, and he needs us more than we need him, and I could just bring him to the end, meaning he's like, I bet I could beat him because we're all gonna hate Fairplay.
Mhm.
I think those are fair points for
But like
Yeah.
Jonathan.
you have to get that far in the first place. And if you have someone as
Yeah.
unlikable as Johnny that you're playing with, he could stab you in the back at any time.
That's true. And maybe like you won't get respect from the jury, you know? It's like, yeah, you got here, but you were working with that guy.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to, like, bring 2 other villains, so that's, like, they might not like it, but are they really gonna vote for Fairplay more than they're gonna vote for me? So it'd have to be, like, some version of that, but alas, you can't do that anymore, so, on the fans tribe, this is when we find out that they can't get the fire started. We talked about the tension between, s kinda specifically Kathy and Joel, but ultimately it's Kathy, Chet, and Tracy versus everybody else. Joel and Jason are kind of the most outspoken of that crew of being annoyed. The other shelter is built, which is odd. I guess there's like 3 shelters actually, because there's like their first attempt at a shelter. There's the one Tracy builds for 3 of them, and then there's just like a cave where other at least Jason, if not some other people, will be staying. So weird stuff going on there. Um, we see all the showmances escalating, including Mikey B and Mary that we talked about. Um, and now finally is when we hear from Cirie because Cirie comments on, as she calls it, the jungle love happening.
Yeah.
I think she says like she expects to hear word of the Oslets coming soon.
Oh my
Talking
gosh.
Yeah,
about Amanda and Ozlet.
I was hoping we would have the soundtrack come out and Can You Feel the Love Tonight would start playing.
Oh, that would be amazing.
But more importantly, uh, so she expresses like that she notices that to us, the audience, and then we see Jonathan and her talking, and now Shuri's able to say like, "Yeah, I know, I'm noticing that, so I probably don't want that to continue." Now, I guess she doesn't like say the words, "And yes, I'm part of your alliance," but I think Jonathan and her at least are aligned in thinking it would be dangerous to let that group of 4 stick together. The 2 showmances stick together.
That makes 1,000% sense. You don't
It
want them to
is,
be
yeah, it
together.
does seem dangerous. So
Yeah, interesting. Cirie actually, like, she even says if it was just one of the pairs, she wouldn't care at all. Which maybe you should care. Like, showmances are dangerous, but neither here nor there. But 2 of them together, now that has her attention.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
the
it just
thought
so
is,
works out that they're all together. You know, it's not like they don't want to work together. They do.
yeah,
We
the
see
thought
them.
is like potentially that it's like that's roughly half the tribe right there. Like they could get a quick majority if we're not paying attention.
Yep. Um, they go to the immunity challenge and reward challenge, which is called Smash and Grab. This is for not just for the reward part of the challenge is to get fishing gear and a fishing boat and it's gonna trigger Exile Island too, but we'll get to that in a second. The specifics of this challenge is that you split up your group. You're gonna have 5 swimmers swim out to a big platform, jump off and smash a tile, which is gonna release a key. Jump off, find the key in the water, swim back. Next person goes. When you get all your keys, one other person will use the keys to unlock a bunch of locks that lets you have puzzle pieces, and then the last 3 people use the puzzle pieces and make a map of Micronesia, which would be the end of me because I got no idea what Micronesia looks like, so I would not succeed in
Join
this
the
Oh,
club.
play.
same.
Uh, so it's a big challenge. I think fun. Another or not another, but this is our first water challenge, unless you include that first thing at the beginning of the episode. Ozzy excels as to be expected. Not that anyone other than Chet does a bad job, but Ozzy continues his dominance. Um, this looked like it was going to be end of Chet because this is a very cliche thing to happen in the beginning of the game. You struggle in the challenge. You also look physically weak. You're also in the minority alliance that usually all combines to you get voted out. So interesting that he will survive this. Before we get to that, actually, for any comments on this challenge?
We
I
watched
liked
a
it.
challenge similar to it. I like it though. I like this challenge
Yeah.
a lot. It's
I liked
hard.
exactly. I like team challenges that are like that test you and like there's a mental component to it too, like with a puzzle at the end. So I like that. I think it checks the boxes for a hard challenge. It's well thought.
The unlocking was odd. It just felt like they needed like an extra thing, and they just made that. Cause like I don't. The only puzzle part of the unlocking is figuring out which key goes to what, but that's just trial and error. So it's a little pet peeve, but or nitpick, but I liked it too. Um, this is the return of Exile Island. So the winning tribe sends someone from the losing tribe to exile, then they send one of their own to exile. So this was Kathy and Cirie. So it's cool inter-tribe bonding, potentially. I mean, but they could have hated each other, so not guaranteed bonding. And we also find out that it's a scavenger hunt where you have to keep finding clues and more clues and more clues until you hope one day, eventually, you'll get to the last clue and find the idol there. At which point, well, there's 2 of you, so who's going to get the idol? We didn't see that play out because Kathy and Cirie did not make it to the end of the clues, not for lack of trying, because they had to go across like that whole like big like body of water over and over and over again.
Yeah, not a fun time. Not. I would probably be pretty upset if I had to do that sort of challenge.
Yeah. I won't lie, I stay the same and I don't like Exile Island. I just feel like it just takes away from the group and it's like what's the point, you know? Feel like you're using more of the time to just take away from the group. I see that this time they do have 2 of the players there, so you do see that bonding inter inter tribe bonding, but at the same time I'm not really into it.
Yeah, same here.
You would hope that the big advantage, like you said, Ange, is that with 2 people there, there's the opportunity for interesting dynamics to pop up, whether they take effect immediately or like it lays the seeds for things to happen down the road, which was not possible before because there was always only one person at exile. Um, and it's a positive that no one actually found the idol in this episode because then it's all over. The whole thing's ruined for the rest of the season. Um, but yeah, so we'll see what happens at Exile going forward. The storyline ends up being so we finally get to talk about it. Um, Chet is the easy target, and as such, Mikey B talks to his whole alliance of 7, and he proposes that we should split the vote. And I think his math checks out. What he's saying is that we can't vote for Kathy because it's a group of 3 people or the people on the outs, including Kathy. We can't vote for her because she has that idol that Yau-Man allowed her to get. So we can't do that. So that leaves Chet or Tracy. But Kathy right now is on Exile Island. She could come back with a hidden immunity idol, the one you can use after the votes. Not the super idol, because that Jeff did not say it's a super idol, so not nothing that you'll had, but just a regular one you use after the votes before they're read. And if she gives that to Chet, then we're gonna get blocked, and then the three of them will vote out. So to prevent that, we should have 4 of our 7 vote for Tracy, and 3 of us vote for Chet. So that if the idol gets used on Chet, it's fine because we still got 4 votes for Tracy. So I think all makes sense. Unfortunately, a lot of people are kind of confused by it, and Joel specifically not only is confused by it, like he's talking real smart, like I can't have that. He thinks he's in charge of everyone. He thinks he can tell us exactly how to vote. But yeah, what'd you guys
Yeah,
think of
it's funny like seeing
the Joel versus Mikey B?
Joel's thought process here is pretty interesting, where it's like you can tell that this entire plan is like way too complicated for him, so he wants to dumb things down and just try to simplify things. And then on top of that, he just doesn't like that Mikey's trying to call the shots here. So that's the offense he takes by it, and that's why he decides to take matters into his own hands and change the vote to try to lessen some of Mikey B's power, hence targeting Mary instead.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I think it's Erik who questions why not just target Mikey then, Mikey B. And Joel is like, well, we want the challenge strength. I think that's the one difference. In present day Survivor, they'd be like, it's fine. Just we'll do fine without him. Whereas I think at this point, everyone's much more sensitive to like, we need our challenge strength. Plus, except for Survivor China, which funny enough had a lot of non-physical challenges when you add everything up, um, or like not endurance type challenges.
Yeah.
Usually there are, so you want to make sure you have physical strength on your team. Um, but yeah, I mean, this just sucks for Mikey B. I mean, I thought that made a lot of sense. I think it was a strategic plan. And now, by the way, they voted out someone in their own alliance. Now they still have a 6-3 advantage if you're thinking of it that way. But it's not a good look. You couldn't even get the first vote to not
Yeah.
be against yourselves.
I feel like this alliance is crumbling before it even started.
Yeah. Just was never solidified.
And because of that, at Tribal Council, I think the only thing interesting is that a lot of people were just, including Jeff, were like, "Yeah, Chet, not looking good for you. Really didn't look like you did a good job." So even Jeff getting at him.
I know. And he was like, well, I knew I was struggling. So, I quickly, like, I thought, I feel like President Jeff, like, I think that's very good of you to be able to know that, you're struggling and don't hold your back. But he was like, yeah, you were really bad. You were holding your team back. I mean, you should have just quit ages ago. You just go home, pack your bags, actually.
Yeah, this is the most blunt I recall Jeff being at the start of a season. Like I know he's had his
I know,
moments, but
right?
like his first 2 episodes, he did not hold back.
I feel like sometimes I feel like low key he might have expectations of how a season would go, and like a season like a Survivor, like fans versus favorites, like should be like pumped up, but then he's got the first tribal where the person wants to quit, the second tribal where one of the guys is just not good and just it's just I guess he's just over it already, and I hope we don't see that. I don't like seeing disappointed Jeff.
I think he's like just doing some bets under the table with like his friends back home. So he's like really hoping that some people go further than others.
Uh, but despite all this, it is not Chet. It turns out that Joel has convinced enough people to end up voting against Mary. So Mikey B and Jason specifically vote against Chet. So Mikey B makes sense because they're deceiving him. Jason, I guess we'll find out. Was this miscommunication, or the Jason he just was sick of Chet, so he didn't care, just wanted to vote for him. So they both vote incorrectly. Joel and Mary vote for Tracy, so Mary's also being deceived. So that makes sense. Joel, I don't know. Maybe this is part of his splitting vote plan, perhaps. Not really sure. Um, Everybody else votes for Mary, so she is voted out 6-2 to 2. Do you wish to see Mary again?
Nope.
No.
That is fair. Very fair. So there we go. Our adventure on fans versus favorites is underway. I do like that one favorite and one fan is gone. That makes it the tribes even for our winner picks selection. I think I'm gonna keep it the same as we did for Survivor China, which is each of you do get to make 2 picks. It could be from any tribe, so it could be 2 of the same tribe or split between them. And I will have you alternate picks, but you don't have you could pick the same people if you so wish. There's no rule against that. And as the season goes on, after every 2 episodes, since we're watching in sets of 2, you can choose to change your winner pick to someone else who's still in the game. But if you switch away from somebody, then you can never go back to them. So like in season 49, when F switched from Soph, then he couldn't go back to her. Excuse me.
Unfortunate.
I'm gonna be upset if I remember incorrectly. I feel like I let you Ange pick first last time, so I'm gonna let F pick first this time.
Love it. You go for it.
All right. Well, one of the people that I already had in mind was the person I already mentioned. So I think Erik would be one of my winner picks.
Okay.
Erik,
Yeah.
very
So
nice, very nice.
yeah, I think don't know enough about him, but at least from the get go, he's looking pretty strong. He's part of the majority and potentially has what it takes to go all the way. I just don't know what his social game's at right now, and if he has a good social game, I would say that my chances are pretty good.
I like it. I
Okay.
like it. All right, Ange, where will you go on the board here?
This is hard because I feel like this episode, I feel like nobody really like crazy like stood out to me in terms of I'm feeling good about this person. So I
Not
think I'm
like
gonna
how like
go
Todd
like
stood out in China.
no, yes. I feel like Todd was quick in terms of compared to everyone else. I feel like this time, weirdly enough, I feel like all the fan favorites are pretty even ground ish. But I do think that the alliance of 4 is quite strong. So I feel like not picking one of the 4 would be kind of not great. So
Which 4 are you talking about? Because there are two
you're
two
right, you're
groups of
right.
4
Sorry,
here.
it's 2 twos. So it would be the 2 romances, Amanda and
Okay.
Parvati, and James and Ozzy. Um I'm gonna say I think last episode I did mention, Amanda. I feel like I rooting for her. I wanted her to win, and I'm gonna pick Amanda. I'm gonna pick Amanda again and
Wow, you're
see
going
where she goes.
back to back final at minimum final performances then if you're right. Look at that. Okay. Amanda it is. Uh Back to you, F. Who will you be adding to the squad with
This is
Erik?
uh this is probably the hardest pick I've had to make because my mind's telling me I should be taking this pick, but generally my criteria is I like to like divide, like have a guy, have a girl, have them be from like different tribes. I like to diversify where I can, so it does at least meet that criteria. But Will, you'll be happy knowing that I think it was like in one of the modern seasons, like season 49, season 48. I took note of something that one of the contestants had mentioned, where they had said something about, oh, I'll just use the Parvati stat. And I was like thinking in my head, well, like, why would they care about that? Like, is she like, did she do really well in her own season? That it matters? And she didn't like even make it to like, I think the final 5 in Cook Islands. Like she was, I think, eliminated just before that. So while Parvati is not someone I would be generally voting for, something's telling me that she was pretty successful, and now seeing that she's returned, there's a chance she could be a winner, is what I'm thinking. So I'm not banking this on of what I myself would have picked. I'm banking off of that memory that I had of what someone else had said in one of the more modern seasons,
Ooh.
which makes this a really weird pick, especially when I know that there's a lot of danger with her and her name's already out there. So this is a really weird pick for me, but I'm going to say Parvati. High risk, high
Parvati.
reward pick.
Okay.
Wow.
Miss Shallow.
Ooh. I like it. We both have one with a relationship, you know? My next
Indeed.
one, I know that like for F you did like part fan favorite, part the Survivor fans. I usually do like that split, but this time I just know that I'm sorry, fan favorites. I think they're gonna get taken out.
You want
Well, you
both the
know,
couples, huh?
I
You
I, I
want to
know that fan fans
complete
are
the
the
couples.
Survivor fans are the Survivor fans. Yeah, I think I I might do the couple. I might keep the couple. I might pick Ozzy, my Poseidon.
Oh, you're gonna go abandon
I
Ozzy?
was thinking about him.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about him.
Parvati, what's funny though? I was thinking about Parvati too, but more so, but then I'm like, if I have two of them, if they're, I just feel like I could always change later if I do want to. But right now, I feel like Ozzy can go far. I'm going to stick with Ozzy and Amanda. And that's where I'm going to go for now.
Yeah, I feel like honestly any of these 4 are risky, but like if they work, they'll probably go far.
I agree.
It's the high risk, high reward of a showmance, because if it, especially 2 of them, but for just focusing on one, with one showmance, I mean, assuming you're gonna be loyal to each other, which you're trying not to make your love interest mad, so I hope you don't go against each other. Uh, that's 2 votes always. When someone wants to work with you, they are incentivized to work with you because they can get 2 votes for the price of 1. Um, on the other hand, people knowing that makes it an obvious target. One thing I think in defense of both of your picks here are none of that, because it's 4 people in a showmance all together. Like I feel like it's equally dangerous for all of them. Whereas like on the fans tribe, there was only one showmance, and even
Mm-hmm.
granted maybe one sided. We don't know enough about it, but with only one, it makes a very easy target now. It's like, oh, it's just this one person, not really in a major alliance right now. Whereas this, you could say you can criticize all 4 of them. So even if their alliance runs into trouble, there's no guarantee the person who will get hurt from that will be the one person you picked, although Andrew did pick 2 of them, so I guess there's 2 chances it could be the person you picked, but not guaranteed. Uh, so very
Yeah,
interesting.
risky
So in the
move on
end,
my part.
F, you have Erik and Amanda, and Ange, you have Ozzy and Erik and Parvati, and you have Ozzy and Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. Very exciting, very exciting. Any last words you want to make on our beginning of fans versus favorites?
I just hope that Erik doesn't also end up in a showmance. I don't want both my picks to be in a show. I'm
And
already
it's just
pretty
What if it
reluctant
just
ends
about
up
the.
also.
with Parvati?
You're right.
I was about to say that. I mean,
That would
could
be really funny. I mean, that could work.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for the beginning of this fans versus favorite adventure, and tune in next time as we continue into episodes 3 and 4. But until then, And until we speak again, ciao.